At only 25 years old, Max Verstappen is already considered one of the best of all time. And what's worrying, he's only just getting started. Whilst his natural speed and fearlessly impeccable driving have got him to the top, getting and staying there takes a lot more and requires a whole entourage. Join us as we look at the 5 people who've got Max to where he is today. One of them reveals how he's ranked number 21 globally in another sport. Any guesses? Dad, Jos Verstappen. His dad, Jos Verstappen, is the one that got him into racing at a very young age. At only 2.5, he had him on a quad bike, and by the age of 4, he was racing around in a go-kart. As a former F1 racer, Jos is no stranger to the world of F1, and he has been both tutor and mentor to Max. I remember after a few laps, he went around the entire track flat out. I immediately went and bought a bigger kart, he recalls. From covering hundreds of thousands of kilometers in a van across a decade of European karting, to jumping to the FIA Formula 3 European Championship at the age of 16, to becoming F1's youngest starter at 17 and youngest winner at age 18. Jos has been there every step of the way. As Max has matured, Verstappen Sr. has been less front and center, but the Red Bull driver says he still seeks his dad's advice. We still talk about everything in terms of what I'm doing throughout the weekend, setup-wise and stuff, says Max. But I know more and more stuff myself, so our relationship is pretty relaxed now. We still discuss a lot and I really enjoy it. It's great to have your dad around, especially when he did it himself and understands racing. Jos always has Max's best interest, and in 2022, he was vocal about Red Bull's handling of Sergio Perez and Max after he could not quite understand why Horner would prioritize Perez. Helmut Marko recognizes just how much Jos has shaped Max's career, as he said in an interview. He was trained in a very tough way by his father Jos, but very successfully. For example, when he was less than 10 years old, they were in Italy, and as soon as it started raining, all the other drivers went to the cafeteria for a coffee or a cake. Max had to stay out, sometimes with frozen fingers. That's why he's so good in the rain, he can adapt immediately. Helmut Marko has been full of praise for the young Dutchman, saying that he's now reached a different level of maturity. Although it's not very visible to the public eye, a key factor contributing to this is Verstappen's settled personal life with Kelly Piquet, the daughter of 3-time F1 champion Nelson. Verstappen first publicly revealed their relationship in 2020 with a New Year's Eve Instagram post. "Find success, love and happiness, just as I found mine." The couple have been quiet about how they first met, as they're wary of what the internet would say if they were to reveal the whole story. This has intrigued us. When we find out, we'll be sure to share with you. The two seem to be going from strength to strength, with Kelly recently telling Vogue that a child with Max was in her 10-year plans. Max has also confirmed his plans to have a family of his own, as he told a magazine. "I definitely want kids, and if they want to race, that's fine. I do think I would do it differently than how my father and I did it, but it's easy for me to talk because I don't have kids." We're now going to move on from his family to his Red Bull team and his race engineer, Gianpiero Lambiase. Having guided a vast range of drivers from Viantonio Liuzzi, Paul di Resta, and also Red Bull's very own Sergio Perez with Force India. He moved to Red Bull Racing in 2015 and was initially partnered with Daniel Kvyat. But when the Russian was replaced ahead of the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, Lambiase found himself working with a new, supremely confident and ultra-talented 18-year-old Max Verstappen. The relationship got off to a winning start in Barcelona, where in his first race for Red Bull Racing, Verstappen took victory to become F1's youngest ever winner. It's been a match made in heaven ever since. We're pretty straightforward with each other. Sometimes it can sound like we're pissed off at each other on the radio, but I'm not pissed off with him. It's a situation we're in on the track and you try to make it better. Even after the race, maybe people think we have to apologize to each other, but it's not like that at all. It's a good relationship and I really enjoy working with him. We want to win and we both want the best result. We're always on top of each other and we push each other forward. We keep each other sharp to try to get a better result. Verstappen and Lambiase are, by their own admission, two peas in a pod. Verstappen has gone as far as to say that he would stop racing if Lambiase stopped working as a permanent race engineer. And given Verstappen's contract extension until 2028, it looks like Lambiase is good for several more years with the team. Another core member of his team is performance engineer Tom Hart. Now, you may be wondering, what's the difference between a race and a performance engineer? The race engineer is responsible for ensuring the driver's weekend goes to plan, covering everything from the entire race, working with the strategists and decision-making on the pit wall during the race, while the performance engineer is there to sift through the data and the driver's feedback in order to build the best race car for the conditions. Following Hugh Bird's shift across to Sergio Perez's garage, Tom Hart stepped into the role for Max. It's working really well. It always needs a bit of time to settle in, but I would say straight from the start, Tom is doing a great job. He's very social as well. He can be pretty funny. He's not a total nerd. He's very clever and he knows what I want from the car, and he's very quick in finding solutions when I have little issues. Now, on to performance coach Bradley Scanes, who's another fairly new member of Max's team. The Englishman is a physio and performance coach who also works as a consultant to British Gymnastics. He's responsible for keeping the Red Bull driver in peak condition for the season. My wife will say I spend more time with Max than with her, he says, but it's going well in our marriage. It's really important to be in good shape, he adds. If not, it can cost you lap time on track. If in the final laps of a race you're getting fatigued, it can affect you mentally, which can have consequences. Not that the championship contender is a huge fan of training. Max doesn't really have any favourites. Training isn't his biggest hobby, that's driving a car. But he knows that he has to do it, and Max is very disciplined. If he has to choose, he'd prefer going for a run and working with weights on his balcony. Bradley and Max have a nice relationship, which Bradley puts down to their joint vision and how Max is a good guy, really down to earth, who likes being at home and spending time with family and friends. We have a nice relationship in that we can go for a dinner, we can chat about football, we can sit down and watch the football, and play a bit of FIFA. It took me 3 years to beat him. It turns out that Bradley's not a bad player. Rather, Max is ridiculously good. So much so that he's number 21 in the FIFA international rankings. Is there anything the Dutchman's not good at? Last but not least is Helmut Marko, an influential figure in the careers of most Red Bull drivers and a notoriously hard taskmaster. Dr. Helmut Marko is responsible for bringing exceptional talents such as Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz to Formula 1. Marko brought Verstappen to the program from Formula 3 in August 2014, and within days revealed that the 16-year-old would drive for Toro Rosso in 2015. Since the two have developed a deep alliance, which Max insists is founded in plain-speaking simplicity. Helmut is like a father to me, yeah, says Verstappen. He says what he thinks and is always straightforward, and I like that. With him, there's no bull-shh stories. That rapport with Marko is just very good, and the one with Christian too. We've been through so much over the years, we got on well together. Who would you like to have in your team? Let us know below.